and Ratepayers Association Incorporated. And have we got some new wording?
Yeah, the build's well underway at the moment, starting to look really, really good, and they're still busily fundraising. They've just launched a couple of weeks ago their latest fundraising campaign, which is an excellent series of Harrington's beers that'll be for sale with estuary type labels on the front. So the Muddy Duck and the Road Cone Red and Broadreach and the great beers that are going to be for sale at local supermarkets even. And money from the sale of those goes towards the Mount Pleasant Community Centre rebuild, which is really, really good. So if anyone's looking for gifts for friends and relatives over for Christmas, local supermarkets for the Mount Pleasant Community Centre fundraising beers.
Fantastic. That's a good place.
It's really, really good.
Now, we have some replacement wording for number 2, which, there we go. So, and that would allow for the lease to include it allows the annual rent to be waived for the first 3 years and then reviewed 3 yearly, having regard to the lessor's general policies in relation to the leasing of sporting and community facilities. A lease to include a condition that the lessor will share with the lessee up to 50% of the cost of maintenance and repair of the building used as a community centre, with such share of cost not to exceed $7,000 per annum plus GST, reviewed at the time of the 3 yearly rent review.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, for the first few years, there shouldn't be a lot in the way of maintenance.
Yeah.
Repairs and things. There will be some maintenance things, to do with, cleaning out gutters and to do with the lift and those kind of things. But not a huge amount. And so reviewing it 3 yearly, I think, will be really good. I think the key thing to remember here is that this building was specifically funded as a war memorial with government and community matched funding, on the condition that the council at the time took on the maintenance costs in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And while that's had a bit of a hiatus, it's really good to see the council supporting the Mount Pleasant Community Centre again. Having it in community ownership and running it is actually a huge benefit to the council. If, like many others, it had folded and gone to council ownership, council would be facing all of these costs now. But the community are doing an amazing job on the centre.
I did notice that you obviously got a young person to do the typing up of the old documents, because they obviously didn't recognise a word called yards, used to metres and various things these days, so that it reads after investigation, the complaint agrees that the centre should be placed approximately 60 years east of the original.
Oh, so funny. So that's, 60 years, is it in the future, the past?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But
I hadn't noticed that one.
It was yards, and I think, but it shows how important it is to go back to the source documents.
That's
because for me, that was the kicker. Yeah. Originally, when this, and it's the only one. It's
only
the
one
only
left.
memorial community centre that's run by the community.
That's right.
That is a war memorial.
Yeah.
And this is the 100th anniversary of the First World War, and I just think that to reinstate that commitment is, I think, the way to go. So,
that's right.
And thanks to the community board for really pushing to get that result. I know,
but it's really good to have it done now, and it's great to see all those source documents.
But you've done the homework,
That's
and
right.
that's kind of what I want to reinforce and to sort of say that it really does help when the communities, take responsibility for doing that.
That's
and
right.
it pays off in the long run. Paul, would you like to move it?
Talk to it. I'd like to move, but I'd
Yep.
like to talk to it.
Move it, and seconded by Yanni. Yep. Okay, Paul.
Just want to say quickly, look, these guys, as you've seen over this last couple of years, have been really, really quite creative in actually how they're trying to get themselves to a sustainable state where they don't have to keep coming looking for us for actually continued support. And it's really great that we're actually also reflecting on actually the past documents, because it does state perpetual maintenance of the memorial. So that was our commitment as a local and as from central government. So it's good that we're going to reinstate that as part of this here, where we're going to, contribute up to 50% or $7,000 maximum. So I'm really hoping that councils will support this motion today. Get these guys back on their feet. Get this facility that's actually really needed back where it belongs. And I just want to say thanks to the community out there who have done such a great job as well. So thanks very much.
Yep, Yanni?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'll happy to support the community board recommendations. At the community board meeting, I would have preferred that we just put it back into the system of council facilities that it used to be in, so that actually we didn't specify an amount, but what used to happen is we had a technical advisor based at the community board service centre. They had an overview of the facilities in the ward, and the groups would put in requests, whether it was a management committee or whether it was a group that owned the facility but had this relationship like this one, to get maintenance done when the need arose. So maybe in time we can get there, but for today I think this is a good compromise to re-establish that commitment that was made, and recognising the huge amount of effort that the Mount Pleasant Community Centre have put into getting the rebuild done, which effectively is the shortfall as a result of evaluations of the insurance requirement to build a replacement facility. So I think it is great. I urge councillors to support this. My understanding is there's probably 2 or 3 other buildings in a similar situation within the city, places that are owned by the community but that council has historically had a working relationship with for whatever reason. So, it's not a huge precedent, but it is recognising the existing relationship. I think the other 2 things I just wanted to point out was that one of the real issues I see with this is that as we go forward, we have asked previously as a community board, and I think council's got a resolution, to look at our leasing policy in terms of charges. Ironically, the rent that they paid previously was higher than the rent of the cricket oval, the professional cricket pavilion and oval in Hagley Park. So it does seem that we do have some anomalies, and it would be good to get that work happening so that we had a bit more of an understanding. The other thing is that we talk a lot about communities actually doing things in a different way. This council wants to engage communities in a different way, but let's not lose sight of the fact that we have some existing communities who actually do have progressive ways of working that we should celebrate and applaud. And you look at the social enterprise aspects to what perhaps the new facility can deliver on. You look at the way in which this community has fundraised and worked with the wider people in the Mount Pleasant area to achieve the results that they want. So sometimes we're a bit quick, I think, to be critical and look at a new way when we've got existing ways that actually are a role model, highlight, I guess, a best practice in terms of working with communities. So I think for a small contribution we make as a city, we get huge value in return. And Mount Pleasant is quite a big area. They have faced huge disruption on a personal level with earthquake issues. I think someone said 1/3 of the houses had to be either repaired or rebuilt, which is quite significant. And on top of all of that, they've got on and just tried to get the facility back up and running. So I urge you to support this today. I'm fully supportive of it.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. That's carried. Can we turn to page 329, because we're now going to deal with the Mount Pleasant Community Centre insurance coverage. So we'll just get that because it's the same issue or the same facility that's not come through the community board process, but
this is a request of the board. So
it was a request of the board.
Yeah.
And the proposal was to receive the information in the report, which recommends that they take out their own insurance.
It was good. It was just a way of making sure they get the best option, because they previously were insured through the council. Yeah. But it definitely looks like that's not the best option now.
It wasn't the best option for us either.
Probably wasn't the best option back then.
Yeah. I just looked jealously at the art centre, and it's sort of the early settlement of insurance is
Makes
just
a big
such a big difference.
I'll move it.
Anyway, moved by Ellie, seconded by Pauline.
Yeah, but which is which?
I'll put the motion. I got it right that time, don't be mean. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you. And now